Welcome to It All Boils Down to This, the podcast where father and son take the kitchen table arguments and heated discussions from their home directly to yours. Jim and Jack Boyle will explore the world as only they can. We might even let a few guests join the fun. So sit back, choose a side, watch the water temperature rise, and enjoy stimulating generational conversation about sports and life. Welcome to episode 57 of It All Boils Down to This. I'm your host, Jim Boyle, and in chair 4 is Jack Boyle right there. And Jack, we missed last week. We were busy all week. We did get some picks in. Anything that's over the last 2 weeks that's to your mind that we can bring up?
Honestly, nothing. I mean, I've kind of died. College football has been real good this year. I'll pay attention closer towards the end, but I've kind of died out in the middle of the season at college football. And then the NFL's a joke, so there's nothing really to talk about. So it's like everywhere you go in sports media, they're talking about those two things, and who cares?
Okay, we'll do a quick brief, because I've got on the list other than just basketball. I do want to do college football and NFL because we always do that.
Yeah,
but
well, you have
there's a lot going on down the bottom. We wanted to do college basketball started, and your boy's got a new head manager at Arsenal, at ManUnd. And the Red Sox seem to be a little bit tweaking around.
It's actually a head coach. He's not a manager.
A head coach. And they've been tweaking around the Premier League. Not the Premier League. Juan Soto. I'm so screwed up. This is my third show of the day. I just want to real quick look at the NFL. The Chiefs. Are they ever going to lose?
Yeah, they'll probably lose. There's going to be a game just where, again, their offense kills them not winning. Like they might lose to the Bills or something. They're going to. I actually don't think they'll go 17-0. But the fact that they won that game and the guy getting pancaked like that, the offensive lineman blocking that kick, it's just ridiculous, and it's just fun to see how much it pisses everyone off, especially in this town. It is fun. I hate sounding like Felger, but it's fun.
You do sound like Felger bitching about the Patriots, but it was an interesting week because I think a lot of games came down late. Detroit came back and won with their field goal kicker kicking 2 50-yard field goals with 50 seconds.
I thought they didn't take field goals.
What?
I thought the Lions, Dan Campbell doesn't believe in field goals.
God.
Oh, of course, they won because they kicked field goals. Yeah,
Campbell.
Maybe you should have done that last year, Dan.
Yeah, so they didn't kick field. But that happened. A lot of close games down the stretch. Kansas City looks good. Detroit looks good. Bills are looking better.
That playoff game, they were up 14 points. He didn't kick a field goal to go up 17. Oh. It's the dumbest thing anyone's ever done.
Okay, we remember your prediction from last year, right?
And guess what? The podcast is still going, so yeah. I wonder what happened.
Didn't you make a prediction last few weeks about if something would I don't remember what it was, that you would leave podcasting?
Yeah, I forget what it was. It was something crazy, like if I don't even remember.
I don't either now.
I don't know.
It was definitely crazy. The other piece about the NFL before we go on to Drake, Philadelphia, Washington, some teams are actually playing well. But how about the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets? What a crap show that's turned into.
But what do you expect? I mean, it's a horrible coach in Dallas, along with an owner who can't get out of his own way, and it's an absolute buffoon as a quarterback in New York. So really, what do you expect from those two teams?
And those two teams are supposed to be high in the playoff. I know Dak Prescott got hurt, but the separation of powers. Who's America's team? New England was very popular, and Dallas was always called America's team. Has Kansas City?
No. That's not how it works.
How's it work?
I don't know. It's just the Cowboys. People still talk about the Cowboys even though they suck.
Like the Yankees,
again,
right?
Basically, this is how the barometer for who's America's team is who is Stephen A. Smith talking about.
Okay, who is Stephen A. Smith talking about?
Because he plays off the ratings. So whatever's going to get him the most ratings is what he plays with. And he's always trashing on the Cowboys and talking about the Cowboys because they're America's team. People do care about them.
He does. I know you're right.
It's the same thing with Man. It's the exact same thing with Man United. Like, we stink. Yeah, but I guess you're right. We stink, Man United, but like they're still the biggest club in England by quite some margin. So it's like they're going to get talked about nonstop.
The final one we're going to talk about is your boy, the Drake, against the number 1 pick, Chicago. Another train wreck show. It's his first full game victory. He looked pretty good. I think that the defense played much better than they have played all year. Maybe Mr. Williams isn't the greatest quarterback that ever lived either.
They fired the coordinator I did see in Chicago. They're going to end up cleaning house there. Sorry, Jay Trev. But, Caleb looked horrible. Again, that game was so boring. It's another one of those, even though they went 19-3 and Drake May was making some plays, it was still the most boring game you could ever watch. I don't want to sit there and spend 3.5 hours watching that. So that's my issue with the NFL. Again, I like Drake. I'm with the Drake, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if he gets a better team next year and can actually maybe do something. But right now, it's all just every individual play is all that matters with him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. So the funny thing about the quarterback, the quarterbacks are taken in the first round. Williams was taken number 1. He doesn't. I don't think he's got the setup in Chicago that'll make him successful. But then a lot of quarterbacks are like that. Daniels was taken number 2. He's having a great year. The Drake taken number 3. Looks like he's got some future to him. See what kind of team they build around him. See what happens when he stops not sliding because he's going to get popped in the head. And then the kid out in also, I forget his name, Denver has played well from Oregon.
I did see Washington has struggled with teams over 500. They've done all their damage against crappy teams. So we'll see. We'll see in the playoffs because I think they will make the playoffs. We'll see what he does in that playoff game that he has.
It's funny how
he's the CJ Stroud of this year. So
he is. Well, yes, right now he is. And CJ Stroud struggled now. Houston,
which is what we all had said was going to happen. Right. Everyone with the brain knew that was going to happen.
Right. And most quarterbacks, it's not like. You're not like a rocket ship all the way to the number 1 quarterback right away.
Unless you're Mahomes.
Well, even though he sat the full year, though.
Yeah, but still, he could have played that year, and they'd have been fine.
There was a joke about Alex Smith, who played for the Commanders and the Chiefs. He was the commander-in-chief.
Yes.
How about that dad joke? Did you send me that?
Yeah, that was me.
I think you sent that to me.
Just makes that joke look bad that you said it.
Okay, so the No Fun League is just, again, it's a grind. It's a grind to watch a game. I totally agree with you. It's just... Who knows? I mean, there were some exciting finishes, but you're absolutely right. I think they're a week 10. We're going to have some buys coming up. So when you start to take the marquee teams away, it'll be interesting. But it's wide open field. Even the Chiefs are good, but I don't think they're great right now. So it's wide open. Bills are a challenge to them. But other than that, that's really what we got for the good old NFL. College football, we had the rankings come out for the playoffs. Major love for the Big Ten initially. What we talked about early in the year, 4 teams from the SEC, 4 teams from the Big Ten, we're going to make that playoff game.
That's what I had said.
Where do you see, who would you rate the top 4 favorites right now that you've watched college football?
I don't know.
No.
But I don't know. Everyone loses. Every time I'm like, Texas is a team, they lose. Oh, Georgia's a team, they lose. I don't know. Ohio State, Oregon... We go
Ohio. Here, I'll give you the top
Ohio State,
6.
Oregon. Well, Indiana's going to beat Ohio State coming up, so I'll go Indiana's going to win it all.
So you got Oregon. Here's the top 6: Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, Tennessee. And then the next group is BYU, Notre Dame, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Miami, Boise, SMU, Texas A&M, blah, blah, blah. A lot of love for the Big Ten. I think it all shakes itself out over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks because this is week, I got to look at my notes here. I think we're in week 12. Coming up, there's a lot going on. So you got Indiana right now.
That's honestly, wake me up when the college football playoff starts. I'll be into all those games, but until then, it's like there's 12 teams. I don't know who's going to make. There's so many teams that I can't be bothered to pay attention to these like at-large teams. I just can't. It's not like it's like 4 teams where it's like every single game matters so much. True. It's like you can lose. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's where. Who's the favorite, anything. I like the parity, and I'm very excited for the college football playoff because I think there is parity, and there's like 6, 7, 8 teams that could win. So wake me up when that happens. I know we have to do a show today.
No, that's
but
okay.
Wake me up when the college football playoff happens.
I think it's not the college football playoffs. I think it's when we get to the conference championships.
Not even then, I don't care.
Because there's some automatic
because the conference, like the SEC championship game, I guess it matters, but
Colorado could make it in the college championship, if they could sneak in.
Yeah, okay.
SMU could make it.
Yeah,
Boise could make it. Tulane could make it. There's a whole lot of. That's why I think. This next 2 weeks are meeting.
I'm not watching the Big 12 championship game.
I'm
sorry. I don't care if Colorado has a chance to make it. I'm not watching the Big 12 championship game. I'm not watching the Mountain West College Conference championship game. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. But you're gonna have to watch because we have a pick challenge going on for the baseball bat, right?
Yeah. The problem is you don't
even know where you are.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Have you not made a pick yet? Jack's on his phone. He didn't even look. So. Chris, I don't think, has texted me his pick either yet as of airtime, and I'm sure Kevin hasn't either. But I just want to give the standings. What are we? Week 12, right? After week 12, we have 5 weeks left to guess, so it's anybody's ball game. Mm-hmm. Chris and I are tied at 8-3. I have you at 6-5, and I have Kevin at an infamous 0-10-1. Kevin still has not made a pick that has won. He got a push, not made the pick that's won. So we have 5 weeks left. I think what we'll do is because we haven't got the picks from Chris and Kevin.
No, I have my pick. So yeah, Chris just said he's making it now. I have FAU plus 2.5 against Temple.
Oh my God! I got the Temple shirt on. You give me FAU.
They stink. They're awful.
They do. You know what?
They're favored. Right. They're literally favored to win a game. They should never be favored. They shouldn't be favored against Wilmington High School.
And I'm going to go. Switch me. I think I haven't made final, and I will tweet everything out when we're done. I'll text out to everybody. I'm right now leaning to SMU giving points at BC. or at home. I think they're getting like 21 points. SMU is a sleeper team to come out of the American Athletic Conference. We'll get a pick from Chris. That might not be my pick. Chris and Kevin, if you're watching them, I don't know yet. I haven't really looked at it. I don't really give a
That might not be my pick.
Would that be yours?
Yeah, that's my pick. Temple's
you're going to go against Temple. So college football, I do have my Temple gear on, but I got to tell you something. That was a horror showdown, Tulane. I'm glad. One of the options I was going to do, I was going to take a trip to go see Temple play Tulane and then drive up to Baton Rouge and see Baton Rouge play Alabama. I play LSU, play Alabama, and Alabama actually destroyed LSU. Right? Milroe was Heisman Trophy-ish, but Temple game was at 4. They got smoked. The LSU game was at 8. I would never have made it. It rained the whole LSU game. Thank God I'm going to ManU instead of to Temple.
It also, that's actually a good thing you brought that up, because that's actually one game that I did watch a little bit of. I would fire Brian Kelly like yesterday. I don't know how he has not been. That's like, if Brian Kelly was undefeated as an LSU coach for 2 years, and what happened in that game at Death Valley happened, he deserves to be fired. That's the most unacceptable loss. The way they got blown out, the way Milroe was just walking all over him in that stadium. I don't know how he can survive that. That is so humiliating, that loss against an Alabama team that lost to Vanderbilt.
Right.
I mean, I do not know how Brian Kelly still has his job. I have no idea. You have to fire him for that.
Well,
that was so humiliating. Every time I looked up, Milroe's walking in the end zone. It was bad.
Right. Well, there's probably number of millions of reasons why he can't get fired, because
money. I don't care.
But again, let's look at
the boosters should get together and get the money.
Billy Napier, Florida.
Send the FEMA money to LSU to fire him.
Billy Napier, who coaches Florida, is coming back next year. Do you know why they're bringing him back? Not just because of his contract, because he's got freshmen and sophomore on a ton of NIL money. Oh, and they can keep him.
I don't care. You're LSU. Now you're LSU. You can bring in another top coach and have NIL money and get new kids in. That, I'm telling you, to lose to your rival like that at home under the lights at like the toughest place to play in college football, it's you can't even explain how bad it is. It's like losing 7-0 to Liverpool. Our manager didn't get sacked after that. I didn't want him to.
There was one other game that was of note, because the AD of the team bitched right after the game, was the BYU-Utah game, which is the holy war out there. And there was a bad holding penalty. BYU had the ball like the 2-yard line, on their own 2-yard line, would have to go 90 yards to win the game. And there was a holding, and a series of things happens after the game. The Utah AD yelled at the official, first of all, who was a guy who got fired from the Pac-10, which is where they came from, and then he went on and made a statement that this was the worst officiating ever, and I think the league fined him like $40,000. But he got his say in. Utah lost, BYU stays undefeated. The controversy there is just, there's so much money right now in college football that they might even have to now, especially with the money, might have to, instead of these refs going flying everywhere, and maybe make the refs like the NFL refs, and that's their job, to work major college football, instead of having the accountant job for the week and then they fly out to do their job so they can be evaluated a little bit better. You don't want to see officials taking away wins and losses from teams, especially with the money involved. So I just want to bring that up with college football and go from there.
Like David, if you need a referee, David Coots available, so just hit him up.
I have that on my list, by the way.
We should talk about that.
We're going to run back through that. So, like I said, I'll text my 3 compadres the picks. I really didn't get a chance to look at it. I just know the SMU game was something that stuck out. The Texas game for me was something that was going to stick out as well. So, but that's enough of we've done a lot of college football and NFL talk all year long. There's a couple subjects I really want to hit on now. The first one was last night's debacle against Atlanta. You don't want to talk about it, but I will say this.
We can't.
Let me get
people don't want to hear us talk about individual Celtics games. Okay. All I'll say about that.
I'm going to say, let me get my piece in
Losses
first.
Don't hit the same.
They don't. No, I agree with you on that. But does that show some kind of? I think it does.
No, it doesn't.
I think it does. You don't think it does? You don't think it shows that they didn't rebound? They didn't play. They came out and didn't play hard because they thought they were going to win.
That exact same lineup won the championship easy last year and had no problems. So I don't know why it's a regular season game. Yeah, they didn't come out with intensity. They come out. But are you worried long term because of what you saw last night? Of course not.
I'm not worried long term what I saw. I still think they're the best team in basketball. Okay, no doubt. But that shows me there are some issues they need to make sure they work on, and that's where after you win a championship, the coach is a major involved. The coach needs to. The coach did a great job last night. He set up like 2 or 3 really good plays at the end of the game. Celtics didn't execute, they didn't score to execute, but that's okay. But I just worry a little bit that this is where the issue is with this team, that there are some flaws that are being exposed by other teams. You talked about it last night with me. If teams are allowed to hand check them, like Golden State did, like Atlanta did, and slow them down and moving the ball, if the NBA is going to let that happen, now they'll make an adjustment and Porzingis come back health. But there's little things that are just little things that worry me. You know, you get a bad game from Tatum, you get a good game from Brown. They choked at the end. They had a 15-point lead in the third quarter. I just see they're falling behind early. They're good. Don't get me wrong.
They didn't
I think
fall
they're
behind early in that game.
Not that game, but the 2 games prior to that.
They won them, so it's
but they lost one. They didn't fall.
They're flaws. They win games.
I just think that there are flaws.
There's no flaws. There's no flaws.
There are flaws that will be exposed. Okay.
They don't have any flaws. They won't be exposed. They're going to win the championship. We all know this. Like, again, we sound like Felger and Maz right now. We're talking about like how bad they are. I'll be honest. That loss last night was one of the worst losses in the Tatum Brown era. But it really doesn't hit the same. I trust these guys, and I'll always trust these guys. And until they lose in the playoffs, I'm really not going to criticize them.
So
honestly.
Now they've lost 3 or 4 to Atlanta, right? Because they won Atlanta.
Oh yeah. They lost back-to-back games to Atlanta last year.
Right.
Oh, were those signs of their weaknesses?
Well, again, they
won the championship 16-3.
That's true. I'm not saying they're not the best team.
They haven't shot the ball well this year at all.
I'm not saying they're the best team in basketball. I'm just saying that you just don't want to see flaws exposed. If they're smart and scout and they have the talent to play with the Celtics, and there are only like 2 or 3 of those teams out there.
If this is happening in like March and their record isn't as good as it should be, then maybe I'll be like, okay, maybe this is a sign. But they're 9-3, I think. Like they're going to be at the All-Star break with like less than 10 losses or less.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to bring. We do a lot of football talk. I like to bring in the Celtics every now and then. I'm not. I would say.
I think we talk about the Celtics more than football now that they started.
Right. If I was a betting man, I would take the Celtics to win the championship. Right. Okay. So, but I'm just asking you again. I watched that game. Maybe it was. I only saw the last 10 minutes because the Temple game was on. I was the concern of how they played the last 10 minutes. Maybe it's just again, it's recency bias with me. I will admit it. I think they're a great team. I think they have areas they can improve.
Sure, they can definitely improve. Obviously, they can improve. They can shoot the ball better and they can rebound. That's fine. But again, that same lineup won them the championship. Al Horford hasn't grabbed a rebound all season. I think maybe in the playoffs, Al Horford might grab some rebounds. Okay. That's my hope here.
And I think the best news with Al Horford not grabbing rebounds
I don't think Porzingis is a good rebounder either, though.
Yeah, right. But Kata has really been a revelation.
Well, I don't like Kata. I don't know. He's not going to be on the floor in the fourth quarter in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs, but as we get you never know, though.
No, you do know because you have Horford and Porzingis. Unless Porzingis is hurt, then maybe he might. Right. But if Porzingis is healthy, whatever.
But I remember you telling me, and
that loss sucked. That was annoying to watch.
Going undefeated, but Cleveland Cavaliers, they might go undefeated.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Embiid and Paul George are playing them tonight, sitting out.
They're not playing?
Those are great guys. No, they played last night. They're not playing the back-to-back. Tatum's playing tonight. He's got that ankle thing. He's like, immediately after the game, he's like, I suck tonight. I got to play tomorrow night.
Well, they're going down to Brooklyn. He likes to play
So
in New York,
that's the thing about Tatum. Like, he doesn't get like, oh, he's not intense. He doesn't blah, 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 that. He doesn't yell. He doesn't... I guess that intensity, he plays every night. He wants to play every night.
Correct.
That he should get credit for that, for the intensity and all that crap. He's always wants to be on the court. Brad Stevens has to get him off the court.
The irony is with Tatum, he's the most underrated great player we have in the game today.
Yeah, I think. Of course.
And because he does play with Jalen, but because he doesn't toot his horn, because he doesn't have a national media, there's no doubt Jokic is a great player. But after Jokic, I don't think any of these other players are any better than Tatum.
Correct.
You agree with me?
If we're doing tiers, like I think Jokic will put on a tier by himself. Tatum isn't a tier below Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Bill Simmons, who is supposed to be a Celtics fan. What are you talking about? That next tier is all right there because you can go to flaws. I think Giannis, if he had Tatum's brain, would be way better. He'd be better than Tatum. But Giannis is a horrible teammate, and he doesn't have that attitude that he wants to win every day. Whatever he doesn't. He's a horrible teammate. So there are flaws in everyone's game where you can't be like, oh, that guy's better than Doncic. Doncic just isn't better than Tatum straight up. Right. Why? Because he can dribble the ball a little bit better and make more ISO pull-up jump shots? Cool. That doesn't make him better than Tatum. And then the SGA is the other one. Get out of here. Embiid, really? We're going to do him?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards. Come on.
You know who might be on par with him right now this year? I'm going to throw AD.
AD's been very good. Yeah, that's another guy. But AD has his flaw of let's see him do it for more than 10 games. Let's see him do it for 80.
Right. Plus,
because we know he's not doing it for 80.
Plus, he has to play with LeBron, who's looking at his numbers and his age and all that other crap. But he's played really well. The Cavaliers have played well because they figured out how to play Garland and Mitchell together, which I think is important. They're relatively healthy. I don't know what their schedule's been like. they're going to hit the grind a little bit.
We'll see what happens with the Cavs and if they get a few injuries here or there. I do have to say, I officially feel bad for Bronny. Did you see he's not playing away G League games because they fly commercial?
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So I officially have determined I feel bad for Bronny. This was never about development of his basketball game. This was always about that one photo op with his dad that one night. And now his dad's basically like, I don't want to play with you anymore. Throw the toys away. Like, you're useless now. I got my photo up. You're useless. Like I said, if Bronny James was playing for Duquesne right now, for Drew Joyce, LeBron's high school teammate, it would be the biggest story in college basketball. It's his level. He'd be scoring 15 points a game. He'd be playing good basketball, and everyone would be talking about it. It'd be the best story, him playing for his dad's high school teammate. But no, LeBron needed the photo op.
I will say this. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner right there. Absolutely right.
Where he should be right now. He should be on Duquesne.
And he should be, he should be enjoying playing basketball. Correct. You're right. And they've taken...
He's not a bad basketball player at his level.
They've taken that away from him.
He's a D1 basketball player. He's a 4-year D1 basketball player.
No doubt about it.
And Duquesne's the perfect place for him. Because he can be an alpha there. At USC, he wouldn't be the alpha on the team. He could be the alpha on Duquesne's team, and it'd be with Drew Joyce.
Correct. No doubt about it. Hey, a great transition to college basketball because we have really our first week.
That's the funny. He'd be coached by Drew Joyce, and his dad was coached by Drew Joyce's dad.
Right.
It'd just be an awesome story.
You're right.
No one talks about that. How awesome it would be if he was on Duquesne.
You know what? Can I say something right now? And I hate to give you credit because I'm going to give you props. That might be one of the smartest things I've ever heard.
No one says it.
No, it's you. You have hit the nail on the head. You have really hit the nail on the head. I mean, I hate to. I'm a cocky old man father, but that was a great. That might be the take of the week.
What would be a better story in college basketball than that?
None. Cooper Flag.
You're right. The main event. The main event. I like the main event.
You turn it over twice. Transitioning to college basketball. We've just started, so we're really not. You and I aren't into it. I know that you and Jay, Trev, and Chris and Kevin are planning some trips for college basketball. We'll get into that.
Yeah, if anyone can get us tickets for like 80% discount to Cameron Indoor, just hit me up and we'll take the offer.
You better find a player that you know. Because they can do the player tickets.
Well, that's how you do it. The 86 Celtics, like we could have Tommy T hit him up and be like, the 86 Celtics are the best team ever. Larry Bird, best player ever. And then maybe Cooper will give us some tickets.
So in college basketball, again, it's been such a long time for my Temple Owls to be anyone relevant. And we've won our first 3 games. Adam Fisher has them playing really well. I'm very proud of him. You and I and your uncle and my brother Joe, we're heading off to BC on Friday to see them play. We'll get to see them live. Cooper Flag played Kentucky last night, had 2 major turnovers in the game.
Did Kentucky win?
Yeah, Kentucky.
I'm rooting so hard against Kentucky this year. I'm the biggest Coach Cal guy ever.
Oh, my God. That's great.
He got a 5-star recruit already at Arkansas. I love Cal. I love the phoniness. I love just everything about Cal. I just it's been from I grew up, I was taught to hate Cal. Yes. And then it was just I love Cal. He's awesome. Okay, he's just a great character.
So Jack sends me a text today. We need to have a college basketball hate-off.
Yeah. Right? I didn't think though.
So no, that's okay because I thought because you texted me. So I want you to guess. This can not just be individuals. I want you to guess who are my 3. Who are not my Mount Rushmore? Because
I got them. Calhoun, Boeheim, and Calipari.
No, you can't coach. Not all coaches.
His big 3 of guys he hates are Calhoun, Boeheim, and Calipari for sure. There's no 3 that compare with them. Yes.
So who would be not a player? But that's my Mount Rushmore. Who's the 4th? It could be a team.
Ron DeSangro.
No. John DeSangro. No. Joe. Who would be the team? So we got
Villanova.
Oh, there you go.
They're not even, that's another thing. It's like you can't even. They're so bad you can't even enjoy hating them.
So my Mount Rushmore of coaches that I completely despise. I'm going to think of would be in no particular order, but Calhoun. I think. Number 1. I was talking to the school of Paul McGilvery back in the early 90s. I took him out to a Temple game at UMass at the Cage. He was one of the guys to go. He goes, Jimmy. You always hated Calipari, didn't you? He would be number 2. So Calipari.
The thing with Calipari is you hated him because of the John Chaney thing, and he's very much he's recovered from that because he's been very respectful of him when he died. No. Of all the college coaches, Calipari probably had the best tribute to John Chaney.
Right. You're right.
When he died. I respect Calipari.
I think you're right in the fact that maybe it was John Calipari at UMass because he doesn't bother me. He was just a big blowhard now. But Boeheim, cheater. Calhoun, cheater. Calipari, cheater. Villanova, I just dislike Villanova. I have to think of who my 4th person on that list would be for coaches. Jim O'Brien used to, this is a funny story. Jim O'Brien coached at BC, and he tried to steal Ricky Brunson from us one year.
I wish he got him.
He tried to steal Ricky, right before we went to the Elite Eight in '93. He tried to steal Brunson from us. And Coach Brunson went into Coach Cheney's office and said, "I'm thinking about leaving." And Coach said, "You, the door's right there. If you want to go, go." And for some unknown reason, Ricky stayed and then got his kid to go to Villanova. So that's why life works.
Are you a Coach K guy? He's the biggest.
That's a good.
If you think Calipari's a phony, there's a bigger phony than Calipari. It's Coach K.
You know what? I don't think I've ever been a big Coach K guy. Although, Mom,
you like Dean Smith?
I like Dean Smith. Yeah, you can't keep asking me, guys. Your mom went to see Coach K, and I've seen some guys speak. Like Coach K is a lot like Belichick. He's a great coach, but he can be despised. Anybody else you want to ask?
Patino. I've just heard from sources he's an asshole. I know that.
You know what? He's a despicable human being.
If I'm picking an Italian, I'm picking Calipari, not Patino.
You know what's funny is I might have to say that's correct.
Yeah.
But as far as my hatred, I don't have any reason to hate Patino. I have a reason to hate John Calipari.
Calipari's a guy. If he sat on this couch, you'd fall in love with him in 30 minutes.
Oh no, shit! I'd fall
because that's who he is.
You know
He's awesome.
You know what? You're right. You know what's funny about that? We'd have a great conversation with Coach Cal because there's
just talk about UMass Temple the whole time.
Temple because his actually his genuine love for the game.
Yeah.
Right. And he and Coach Cheney butted heads all the time, and I was there the day that Coach was going to kill him and all that stuff, but. Coach just never. The respect I have for Calipari, I can still hate him and have respect for him. Coach K, you're right. I could do without him. Anybody else?
Coach K was at least Calipari kind of at least embraces the scumbag a little bit.
Yeah.
Coach K acts like he's the cleanest guy that's ever existed, and he is not. He's the biggest. He's a phony, basically.
Okay.
I think Coach K is probably a phony. At least Cal wears it on his sleeve.
Do you have anyone else?
Cal's just Cal. No, that's all.
I give it. You know what? The Boeheim thing. I was thinking about this today. Now that Boeheim was, he's retired. He's completely gone. I always hated Calhoun. He's a big phony, and I just, there's just something that I know he's from here and he's Northeastern and all that crap, but I just never liked him as a coach. I always thought he was
well, he's like straight out of the Winter Hill Gang, Calhoun. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what he's like.
Who, Calipari or Calhoun?
Calhoun.
Yeah, definitely Calhoun. And then
Calipari's more from like the Corleone family.
Yeah.
Not the Winter Hill Gang.
Well, enough talking families there.
That's like Calipari.
That's so funny.
I think Calipari is one of those guys who the Godfather is like a way of life for him.
No.
Yes, it is. Yeah. He probably watches that movie 5 times a year.
He might, but I don't think that's a good question. Maybe we'll call Calipari up and get him on the show. Yay, Coach.
Ranking Italians. I'll go Calipari, Patino, and then Andrew Cuomo.
Okay, good.
Not a pervert. Italian.
All right. So ranking Polish people, I would go Coach K. And Boeheim, he's not Polish, but he should be Polish. Good. It was a good topic.
I'm Polish. You're not.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Your father-in-law, Tom and Carol. Tom Pizzero, my father-in-law. Tom and Carol, my father-in-law. Jack's grandfather is 100% Polish. A shout out to Tom out there, 100% Polish. Bringing Jack. Jack's a quarter Polish because his mom's half Polish. So shout out to Tom for bringing that Polish blood into the realm of the Boyle world, which is great. Any other? That was a great hate. I love this. I
just had a great idea that got us about 7 minutes. A great podcast talk after we just wasted our time thinking we talked about acting like we knew what we were talking about when we were talking about the NFL. The NFL's so I'm done calling it useless. What else do we got? You want to talk about soccer?
No, we're going to talk. We have 2 more things to talk about.
I'll get a whole podcast in Manchester where only soccer will talk about.
So Jack and I just a caveat because we're going to move. I like the topic. We'll talk about it later. Jack and I are going to Manchester to see Manchester United play Everton.
Yes, Everton.
And their new coach. And when we get after the game, when we get back to the hotel, we're going to do a podcast, which I'll try to edit. And my good friend Maria here at the studio probably help me out. So we will do a podcast because to me doing a Premier League game is different than you. I really enjoyed. I went to Southampton. I just enjoyed the atmosphere. I enjoyed being there with these passionate fans, and they were chanting and singing. And goddamn, the game was 1-0, most boring game you ever lived. But it was fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing Old Trafford, which is like for a lot of people like going to Wrigley and Fenway to going to Old Trafford. So I'm looking for that. We'll do a podcast to that. But back to Man U. We have a new head Manager, is he?
Coach. He's a head
New
coach. He's not
a
a
head
manager.
coach, not a manager.
That's his title.
We have a new head coach, and they're playing a little bit well, and we're going to see him. I'll let you get like a 1 or 2 minutes on Man U.
Well,
and then I want to talk about the referee.
We're going to be at his first Premier League home game. Will be the game that we are at. Ruben Amorim's the name. He's a 39-year-old. He's a week younger than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oof.
So he's a young guy. He was probably him and a guy in Germany, Xabi Alonso, probably the two best like young coaching prospects right now in the world. So it's a good pickup for us. He's got a personality. So we hired Ten Hag. If we've heard about Ten Hag, he was our manager the past 3 years. He was a similar situation where it'll be hard pressed to find a young a manager like about to make that step up with a better resume than him to make it up. But this guy's got a much different personality, better with the language. It's going to be fun. Everyone's excited. The club's been winning. Van Nistelrooy was our interim manager, was a great player for us. He kind of brought some good vibes back to the club. We'll see. We got to work hard. We got to get rid of the players that don't work hard, and we'll see where we are. Everton, we should win that game.
Okay, so like I said, I'm looking forward to going. We got a new manager. I have a little app on my phone now that I go every day and see how they're doing. So I'm trying to learn who the players are. Jack gives me the lineups.
You yelled at me about how I quit on Ten Hag real quick. I quit on Ten Hag because remember this name, Amad Diallo. You got to play him. Him being on the bench made no sense. Playing Mazraoui as the 10 made no sense. Bringing Anthony off the bench before Amad made no sense. Amad is the best player on our team by far. And I'll say this right now, he 100% has best player in the world potential. Like if you just heard me, I'm telling you right now, he has something there where I've never seen it before in my 10 years as a United fan. I will take your
word for it that he does. Again, we'll do a podcast because we're hopefully gonna go see hopefully our plane lands in time. We go to see Blackburn.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah,
Blackburn Rovers versus Leeds, right?
You want to talk about that'll be an atmosphere that's a lot like Southampton was. There, depending on where we're sitting and all. So that'll be a very good atmosphere at that type of game.
So we're hoping our plane lands on time. We got about an hour and 10 minutes to go through customs, drop our luggage off the hotel.
Yeah, my passport never works.
Well, hopefully your passport
works. You do that thing where you scan your passport and it's supposed to let you go, and every time it acts, and then they interview me. Why are you here? I don't know. I
think they interview him because he looks like an ugly American. That's I've never had a problem. I'm hoping we get through. I'm making sure we see that game. We got to walk like a mile from the train station to the venue, but it's all. It'll be interesting when we do sit down on Sunday night after every said and done at the hotel in Manchester. The whole podcast will be devoted to what Jack's experience as a Man U fan going there, and what my experience just as an athletics fan, a sports fan, and my take on it. I'm really looking forward to that. Just a small, quick note on this referee thing is really weird.
It's awesome. It's great.
It's weird. Isn't the guy like he was high or drunk or
what? There's been a bunch of videos of him doing coke coming out. So there's a Premier League referee who just got caught on video. A video got leaked of him like 3 years ago talking about how much he hates Jurgen Klopp and how much of a C-word he is. So that's not a great look. Jurgen Klopp's gone now, but like Liverpool fans are all mad. He barely reffed any Liverpool games the past 4 years. But it's not a good look for the referees who are already under a ton of fire for being horrible at their jobs. And it actually, like the media reporting that it's a poor generation of referees in England. So not a good look. Not a good look for England. Not a good look for the referees. Not a good look for David Coote. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Is he still reffing?
No, he reffed a game the other week. It wasn't his fault, but the dude on VAR, video assisted referee, made him overturn a call that they released the audio. David Koo was on our side. He didn't want to overturn the call. He said, "What am I overturning this for?" And Michael Oliver, that idiot, made him overturn it.
All right,
but yeah,
so
he's done.
Good.
Oh, he's done.
That's good. So good Premier League talk. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. We're in 2 weeks from Friday. We leave. I'm looking forward to it. I will report back my feelings. Like I said, I've been to Southampton. We saw Man U play Southampton, and that experience, except for the bus ride out, which took forever, was a really good experience for me. We're going to end the show. AD Dennis Ingram comes into me. He saw me as I'm sitting down doing my job at the high school. He says, "What about Juan Soto? I can't believe it." So, again, you and I talked about this last night, and I think there's some logic behind it and not. But
no, there's logic behind it. It's not going to happen.
Pay the money?
Whatever. We shouldn't even talk about it because it's just stupid. No,
well,
they won't pay the money.
You, so let's
it would make sense. Yeah, it's like, oh, what do they pay him? $50 million a year. What are we going to do? Pay Trevor Story and Nick Pavetta $55 million a year?
Right. Well,
what's better?
Like I said, like you said, we talked about it. It would almost erase all the Mookie shit. He's 25, 26 years old. he would be the star here. He would be the number one guy. If he goes to the Dodgers, they have Shohei and Mookie, and if he goes to the Mets, he'd be the number one guy. Lindor's still there, but here he'll be number one. There's at least something. His left-handed bat would work. He would be. I would, if I'm the Red Sox and I want to really win our fans back, I would give what he wants. I'd give it to him. You know, they're going to make the money back in droves anyway. It's great to really dream about it, because if you bring him in, that allows you to move Cassius and Duran, who are major league ready baseball players, not prospects, and more teams would be willing to take the major league ready players than the prospects. And somebody said to me, he's a left-handed bat. Well, you don't need a left-handed bat. That's ridiculous crap.
What I'll say about you, what was the thing you said before that I got lost?
I bet he'd be the star.
No. I don't need about Juan Soto. It doesn't matter. You said something. I had a point. Whatever. Yeah, no, I want Juan Soto. I want him, but they're not going to get him.
I would say we got about a 5% chance of getting him. But if they
you talked about Cassius and Duran, yeah. So we have all these position player prospects. Position player prospects are not great, I feel like, for getting established pitching.
Right.
While established young major league hitting is good for getting pitching.
Right.
Because normally when you train prospects, people want pitching. Right. And the Red Sox don't have that, but they do have guys like Duran and Cassius who are established, very good Major League Baseball players that would be able to get you some good pitching.
Right. You know, that's a very, very good point. And again, the reason you don't trade the young players is because you're going to have 6 years of control at very limited money. And if 2 of the 4 make it, you have 2 guys who will cost you nothing, hardly anything, for at least the first 3 or 4 years of the Soto deal. And by then, you've already got your return on investment with Soto. So that's how I look at it. Now, I don't know how Henry's looking at it, but again, I love Devers. Don't get me wrong, but Devers isn't a superstar, face of the franchise guy. Juan Soto would be. Corbin Burns is not. Max Fried is not. You get only one chance to have Juan Soto, or that type of player, or a Judge, or whoever, or a Mookie, which we threw up. So, again, I just wanted to bring it up because Dennis came up and said to me, you know, it's just something, it's intriguing to watch, and it'll be intriguing to see what happens. I'm all for it. Look, back up the truck. My season tickets will sell forever. So, any other baseball, anything else?
No baseball thoughts, no.
All set?
Yeah, I'm all set. I just got one more thought.
Okay.
I did see Alcaraz kept his season alive today, back to tennis. This is it for the year. It's like the ATP Tour playoffs, whatever. It's probably not a big deal, but I care about it because it's like the best players. It's group stage, play your 3 group stage games. He has a game now. He beat, I think it was, I don't even know who he beat today. I think it might have been Casper Ruud. He plays Zverev, who he beat in the French Open final this year. And he's got to win that match to get to what I would imagine would be the semifinals, and then hopefully we get a finals. And all that I care about right now is just getting an opportunity to watch Sinner play Alcaraz. Excellent. So if we can get an ATP final, Sinner versus Alcaraz high, be ready. We need you. We got to win this one.
Okay, perfect.
We got to close the year strong.
Perfect. I got my watch beeped. Chris is taking LSU. You're taking FAU. I'm taking SMU.
Chris is taking LSU after what I just said about Brian Kelly.
He's so Chris. This is funny thing. Chris is taking SMU.
LSU.
LSU.
Who are they playing? What's the spread?
I don't know. I think it's the Florida.
Oh, Chris, LSU.
LSU. You've got FAU. I have SMU. And Kevin hasn't given us yet. So those 4 are on there. You know, it was a great conversation. I love talking the freewheeling stuff about baseball and everything. We do have to cover.
They're playing
the football.
Florida, your boy. That's the battle of the coaches.
We just talked about, right? So as we wrap up episode 57 already, Jack. It's been a great episode, and you gave your last word on Alcaraz. That's great. So for it all boils down to this: he's Jim Boyle. He's Jack Boyle. I'm sorry, I'm Jim Boyle, the person that's listening to Jack Boyle. So episode 57 is a wrap. So for it all boils down to this, we'll see you on down the road. Thanks for listening to this episode of It All Boils Down to This, recorded at WCTV studios in our hometown of Wilmington, Massachusetts. We are always open to any ideas, critiques, topics, and guests. So if anyone out there in podcast world needs to get a hold of us, we can be reached via email at jboyle22@comcast.net. Along with Jack Boyle, I'm Jim Boyle. Make sure to tune in to the next edition of It All Boils Down to This.